Do you have favorites within your team? Not everyone gets treated equally. For instance, you probably have team members who you have developed really great relationships with. They trust you, trust them, they trust you. They've worked hard for you in the past. They've never let you down. And they are an invaluable team member in which you treat them slightly differently. You give them better projects, you give them better resources, maybe more opportunities for training and development. And then there are team members in which you see them less favorably. They may not have far-fetching career goals. They're maybe less confident. And more often not, you just don't trust them. And they get all of the BAU responsibilities. They don't get any challenging assignments. Maybe they haven't even got any training or development that they've had. Have you ever stopped to analyze that and to think of that? Research has shown that members of the out group are more likely to leave an organization. They have bad attitudes. They're less likely to be selected for promotion. They're going to be causing problems, and you're just going to have a really dysfunctional group. Whereas on the other hand, the in-group members, they tend to have access to better information. They have more influence. They get special treatment, and they get better projects as a result. In groups and out groups, once they're formed, leads to an us versus them mentality when it comes to managing your team, which has negative impacts for results, engagement, and morale within your team. Now, this whole theory is called leader-member exchange, and it focuses on the relationship between the manager and their team members. And this is all formed subconsciously without actually realizing it. And it comes in with 3 stages. So 3 stages of how it's formed. The first stage is around role taking. Now, this is when a new member comes into your team and you as a manager, you're sizing them up, they're sizing you up. The second stage is around role making. So this is where your team members begin to work on projects, they work on tasks, and you have the expectations from you to them around, are they going to work hard for you? Are they going to be loyal? Are they going to be have the ability to prove that they're trustworthy and develop trustworthiness? Like I said, often this is a subconscious thing within managers that you develop. Now, the third part is around routinization. And this is where the manager's made, you've made your mind up, and now they're either in an in group or they're in an out group, and you then delegate jobs and tasks based on whether they're in group or out group. Now, in groups work hard to maintain the good opinions that have been formed. They show respect, they have trust, they build up empathy, they have patience and persistence to prove that they're the right person. Whereas on the other hand, the out group, now they'll start to dislike you, they'll start to distrust you as they're part of that out group. And once that perception has been formed, it's really hard to get out of that out group. And more often than not, what that leads to is the team member having to move departments or actually move organizations to start again. What does this all mean? Look, it means you're going to have higher staff turnover. It's going to become that us versus them environment within your team, which is negative. It has negative impacts for your team. It also has negative impacts for innovation, for problem solving. You're going to have higher conflict levels as people are seen to be more favorable than others. And then the bad attitudes then start manifesting itself within those out-group members. And overall, you're just going to have a higher cost expenditure for the business. Now, how do we actually use this knowledge? I'm a practical person, so let's look at how we can create awareness and maybe solve this problem, bridge the gap a little bit within there. It's all around awareness. So it's slowing down to speed up and analyzing your team. So the first step is we need to identify who is in the out group. you need to analyze why they're in the out group. So what have they done that's put them out of favor? Is it a trust issue? Is it a bad attitude problem? Is it just incompetence, or is it low motivation to be part of your team? And then as part of that, you need to analyze further and actually go, look, what are the facts here and what's the perception? And do those two match together? And then the second part now is then to reestablish that relationship, because what research has shown that team members who have a high quality relationship with their leaders and managers, they will get higher productivity, they get better results, and they're going to have higher morale. So that's why it's really important. But you have to think about this. If you have your team members in the out group and now you start to re-engage with them, they're going to be very skeptical because they may not have had the same level of support from you. You start asking them all these questions now within that one-on-one meeting. So schedule one-on-one meetings and have them reoccurring. You want to start now to find out more about them, what their motivators are, career goals, where they are in their life cycle. Look, I've got another video on one-on-one conversations, but you need to start finding out more information to bridge that gap, to make sure you're integrating them into an in-group relationship with you. The third part of it is providing training and development opportunities. Now, like I said, they probably haven't had these opportunities before. So first thing you need to do is identify a gap. Is there a gap between what is required, the result, and the level of training, skill, knowledge, and development? And then we need to put a bit of a plan into place for that. So that's why I need to conduct this, and it's really important to do that. So here are the three stages again. Number one, you need to identify who's in your out group. Number two, you need to analyze and reestablish that relationship through one-on-one meetings. And I've got another video for that. And then number three, you need to provide these opportunities now to develop them as a whole within the workforce. Look, the bottom line here is the biggest cost to any organization, more often than not, is staff. And you need to think around the money spent attracting, recruiting, hiring, maintaining that employee, and then offboarding and exiting. And the churn rate. So if you've got a really high churn rate, more often than not, you probably find that it's those people in the out group that are actually causing that issue. So what we want to do is integrate them back into an in group, because you're going to have higher productivity, higher morale, and better results as a byproduct of that. Diversity inclusion, I'll just make this final point. Diversity inclusion is a really important factor within teams. It has been shown to have better problem solving, more innovation, diverse ranges of thinking, and consequently you're going to have better results for the business. So my challenge to you over the next couple of weeks is assess and analyze. Have you got an in-group and out-group on that subconscious level? If you have, let's start integrating them and using the three phases to get them back into the in-group.